patience. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة كل ضلالة في النار. As we return back to the tremendous treatise entitled Kitaab At-Tawheed by the great illustrious Imam Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, 6:48 p.m. Friday, November 30th, 2018, which agrees coincides with the month, or we're still in the month in the Hijri calendar, or Islamic calendar, of Rabi' al-Awwal, as this is the 22nd night of Rabi' al-Awwal, Rabi' al-Awwal, the year 1440 after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wassalam. As we continue on the lesson, Ya Ma'ashar al-Ikhwa, as we finish the book or the chapter of Ash-Shafa'ah, the chapter of Ash-Shafa'ah. As that chapter, like we completed, alhamdulillah, and I hope that everyone understood that chapter, and not only just understood the chapter, but reviewing it so they can grasp and comprehend the understanding of it, especially from those who either negated it and then went to the extremes of negation and went to the extremes of affirmation. For those who went to the extremes in negation, totally negated the affair from everyone, whether they be from the people of Kufr, or the people of Shirk, and also the people of Iman. You'll find, of those deviant sects, and they still are dividing, and they're still becoming more variety. Some of them don't negate it altogether, but some of them negate it, or they restrict it, As I said about the head of the deviant sect called Al-Ahbash, and the head of it was Abdullah al-Habashi, al-Harari, or I think it's al-Harawi, who was originally from Ethiopia. He's originally from Ethiopia. He was Harawi. Harawi is a tribe from those who are from Africa, which is in Ethiopia. Abdullah al-Ahbash, as he moved from Ethiopia to Lebanon. I don't want to talk about that right now. Anyway, Abdullah al-Ahbash, you'll find that from his ideologies is that he restricted the shafa'ah to Ahl Kaba'ir. He restricted the intercession to the people of major sins from the Ummah or the nation of the Prophet ﷺ. And we said that all of that is what? Is false. And it has no validity. And it goes against the adillah of the evidences and the proofs that we presented. And there's no doubt that the shafa'ah, the one who will attain it, is not only bi'idhnillah jalla wa az, those who died from the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ who committed major sins, but also other than them. Whether they be those who will enter paradise without any reckoning nor account, or those who will have their degrees raised in paradise, or those who just want to enter paradise, will need the shafa'ah. And also for the day of resurrection to start is another type of shafa'ah. So there's all different types of intercessions that we spoke about. And I hope, like we said, everyone was enlightened. And they also gained some more clarity in this regard So their belief system can be intact in regards to this matter of the shafa'ah. Like we said, you'll find the majority of the people, especially of today, are still being misguided in this affair, especially from those from the Sufiya, from those who affirm it to the point where they fall into a shafa'ah shirkiyah, an intercession that's of polytheism, if we want to say, for lack of better words, a polytheistic type of intercession, or those who negate it still from the people of the Khawarij, or from the Khawarij, as their ideologies exist. Rather, the Khawarij, the ideologies of the Khawarij is the fitna of the Ummah, started from the beginning, during the time of the Messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam, till the end of time. Rather, you'll find that the Khawarij, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, the Dajjal will emanate from them. Because a lot of people don't know that the Antichrist will emerge from the Khawarij. That the Antichrist, the Masih Dajjal, the Antichrist, I think they call it, for the lack of better words, the Antichrist will emerge from the Khawarij at the last days and times. Is it because as the Prophet ﷺ informed the hadith, which the Imam Muhammad Nasruddin al-Albani declared to be authentic, and from what I remember it is sound, that he said that the Khawarij, he said, فَإِذَا خَرَجَ مِنْهُمْ قَرْنٌ قَطِعٌ فإذا خرج منه قرن قطع فإذا خرج منه قرن قطع حتى يخرج من عراضهم الدجال. That narration. He says that they, of course, the fitna of his ummah, he said from them is the Khawarij. And he said that every time a group of them will come out at a particular time, they'll be cut off. Then they'll come out another time, they'll be cut. Then another time they will come out, or they will emerge and they'll be cut, until they will emerge and emanate حتى يخرج من عراضهم الدجال. He says until the Dajjal will come out from them. So they're the fitna of this ummah during the first part of time, or the first, and when the Khulafa Ar-Rashideen, they're the fitna of our times. And they will continue to be a fitna upon this ummah until Allah Ta'ala wills to stop them totally from their fitna and erase them from the earth. And we ask Allah Ta'ala to actualize that and to remove them, because they are the fitna of this of this ummah. The Khawarij of these days, especially from the terrorists, are the fitna of this ummah. They are the major fitna. Not only from the major fitna as far as from that particular aspect, meaning from the ideologies of what they carry, they are the cancer of this ummah, no doubt. And also likewise, the fitna of this ummah is the Sufiya and those from the rest of the deviant sects. But those who are from the radicals and those who really spread chaos and wreak havoc and helter-skelter in the earth is those people who are what they call of these days and times of ISIS and other than them, who are upon their methodology, and those who are being affected by them due to their lack of knowledge. You'll find that the majority of those who follow their way are people who are not educated. The majority of those who follow the ideology of the Khawarij are very ignorant. Very, very ignorant. And that's the confirmation of the statement of the Prophet ﷺ, where he said, حُدَثَاءُ الْأَسْنَانِ سُفَهَاءُ الْأَحْلَامِ, where he described them as being young in age and misguided in their understanding. Meaning they have no what? They're not guided. They're not properly guided upon knowledge. And you'll find that's the time of the Khawarij of old is the same of the Khawarij of today. You'll find that they gathered, really their da'wah is directed towards youth who have some type of enthusiasm about the religion, but they're ignorant. And they'll gear towards what? Gravitating towards them. That's why you'll find that the majority of those who explode or kill innocent people or blow up cars or what have you and wreak havoc, if you look to them and their actions, they were people, for example, that was in the prostitution, or there was a person that used to do drugs a lot, or what have you. So they gravitate towards them. So they try to now fill up their minds of so-called, if you want to now rectify yourself, then you need to do this. Where you need to, for example, strap yourself up with some bombs, not guiding him in a manner that is what? Correct. Meaning miktoba, come and educate yourself, pray your salawat, things of that nature. No, what you need to do, since you transgress the boundaries of Allah, you need to sacrifice yourself. So they gravitate towards them emotionally, And they try to build their enthusiasm until they become overzealous upon ignorance. And just because that one has desire, if it's upon ignorance, then it's also dangerous. Because one is usually naive in that stage. Not having a lot of knowledge, they could be they could be easily molded or misguided, either in the right direction or the what? Wrong direction. And that's usually what happens. So they gravitate towards them, try to now arouse their emotions. Now you need to do something and something as a type of a radical, misguided type of act in order to so-called now exonerate yourself for what you committed of those crimes. By you committing adultery or you being involved in a prostitution, you need to now sacrifice yourself. So now, after they persuaded them and affected their minds and filled it up with poison, then they will now what? Then they now will start to commit these radical acts, which is transgression against the boundaries of Allah, by following one evil up with another evil that was more worse than the one that they were upon, before they became so-called upright, if they were upright in the first place. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? So like we said in this regard, that the shafa'ah is something that is very important. So you cannot be like those who negated it from the Khawarij. And like we said, the modern day people of the Khawarij is ISIS. And those who are involved especially in politics from the Muslims, especially in the Middle East. They are heavily involved inside of, do not find it far off, that a lot of them that incite or they try to stir up the people as far as in going out in the streets and marching, or for example, establishing marches in the street, or for example, arousing hatred and stirring up hatred towards the ruler. All of these are from the ways of the Khawarij. All of them. These are from the ways of them, and this is how it starts off in the beginning. Start off, as they say, أولاً التكفير ثم التنفير ثم التفجير. He says starts off with declaring them non-Muslims or people to be non-Muslims, then scaring them, then killing them. So it starts off with takfir, ثم التنفير ثم التفجير. Then tafjir means to blow them up. So it starts with declaring them to be non-Muslims, then instilling fear, then tafjir, then blowing up people. So do not be like those who negated the shafa'ah. The shafa'ah, like we said, ya ma'ashar al-ikhwa, especially in these days and times, is still being utilized as an affair where you'll find there are people that utilize this matter in order to declare certain people from Ahl Sunnah to be out the fold of the Sunnah. From them is what they declared, the great Imam Sheikh Muhammad Nasiruddin al-Albani. They say the so-called, and I heard this a couple of weeks ago, that you have to be careful of some of the scholars because they have irja with them. Irja. And we'll talk about that at a later time, because you're going to hear these statements. I'm throwing this out there so when you guys hear these statements, you'll know how to react. So a person, I'm not saying this because I know certain people are not in tune or they're not really familiar with some of these terms. But I'm going to throw them out there just to get your brain working first. That they say you have to be careful of the ulama these days, Sheikh Salih Fawzan or certain ulama, especially Sheikh Al-Albani, because they really focus on him a lot. You said that Sheikh Al-Albani, you got to realize that some of them had irja with him. Irja. What is irja? As we know, just to summarize it, irja is to believe that actions are not from what? Actions is not from faith. Just to sum it up. I'm not going to get into too much of the details, more details than that, but just keep it basic for now. The word irja is to believe that actions is not from faith. That amal is not from iman. You'll hear Muslims say this in these days and times based upon ignorance. You'll hear them say, I don't have to do anything, faith is here. It's in my heart. I don't have to pray, faith is here. I don't have to go to Jumu'ah, faith is here. I don't have to grow my beard, faith is here. I don't have to leave off my girlfriend, faith is here. I don't have to do anything, faith is here. Faith is here. Everything is here. What is that? That's what they call irja. Irja. I don't know how to spell it in English. I-R-G-A-A. I guess. Irja. G or J? I-R-J-A-A, I guess. I-R-J-A-A, maybe. You guys just focus on what I'm talking about. I'll talk about this to get to you later. طيب. Irja. Just write it down for English right now. Irja. Irja is a type of sect, and you'll find that the ulama talk about them in the past. They existed in the past. Irja is just to believe that actions is not from faith. Actions is not from faith. But just to sum it up, don't worry, it's going to be a whole chapter that's going to come on this. Don't worry. So at any rate, just to sum it up, they accused the great Imam al-Albani of this, that he has irja. Why? Based upon the masala of the salah, of the prayer. The prayer, like we know, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, is a pillar of the religion. You'll find that even, and I'll bring the statement of Sheikh Rabi', don't worry. Well, Sheikh Rabi' was also refuting those who tried to accuse the great Imam of irja. Where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is, focus Camden, where I'm going with it is, you'll find there are people that's upon the way of the Khawarij say these statements. You have to be careful of certain scholars of these days because they have irja with them. Those usually are people that have been influenced by the ideologies of the Khawarij that say these statements. Be careful, Sheikh al-Albani, he has irja with him. Usually a person has or makes the statement is someone that's been affected with the ideologies of the Khawarij, and they're ignorant. And they're ignorant of the methodology of the Salaf, especially in regards to the Salah. As we know, the Salah of the prayer, no doubt everyone, is a pillar of the religion. I'm going to say this quickly, then we'll move on to the next chapter. Do not ask me, brothers, just keep with me, because I want you to understand. Are you with me, Jamar? In regards to, for example, of the great Imam al-Albani, you'll find that the Salah is a pillar of the religion. It's a pillar. You'll find that in regards to Salah, the Ahl Ilm break down as far as in regards to believing that a person is an unbeliever if he left off the prayer. Leaving off the prayer, whether it be out of believing it's not obligatory, or leaving it off out of severe negligence and laziness. As far as having the belief that the salah, if one leaves it off, if he leaves it off out of believing it is not obligatory, that person, after the proofs and evidences have been established upon them, that individual is a disbeliever. After the proofs and evidences have been established and ignorance has been removed and it's been made clear to him that this affair is what? This affair is obligatory and it's a duty and it's a pillar of the religion. Which you'll find that, inshallah, majority of the Muslims are not ignorant of the affair or the salat being obligatory, and that it's a daily duty. Because it's from the pillars of the religion in which the religion is based upon the prayer. So you have the first category, which is the one that leaves it off out of the belief that it's not obligatory. Ahl Ilm say that person can pray all of his 5 salawat, for example, and even prays rawatib. If he has the i'tiqad, the belief that is not obligatory, disbeliever. Is it clear what I'm saying? Unbeliever. Because we know that the salah is what? It's obligatory. It's an obligation. It's a duty. It's what the religion is established upon. So that person, he pray all of his 5 salawat. If he believes that it's totally obligatory, that's not, unbeliever. Like we said, after the proofs and the evidences have been what? Established against him and it's been made clear to him. Then you have the one, so that category, before we move on to the second, is clear. That anyone that leaves it off and believes that it's not obligatory, he's left the fold of Islam. Based upon the fact that what? Like we said, after the evidences have been what? Established upon him. That's qawlan wahidan. That's one statement amongst all Ahl Ilm that are truly considered from the people of knowledge. That's clear. That's clear. The second category, as far as the person leaves off the salat, the one who leaves it off out of negligence, severe negligence and laziness. Severe negligence and laziness. The ones who leaves it off. Is he a non-Muslim or is he a Muslim? Is he a non-Muslim? He lead the fold of Islam or not? This is where now they accuse the great Imam al-Albani of irja. Right here. This is where they start to now come at him. Just to sum it up, because I don't want to get too deep in this. Just to sum it up, both sides in regards to this second category, unanimously, both of them agree that the person has to what? The person has to pray, whether they say that he will be from the people of the hellfire eternally. I mean, he's left the fold of Islam because he was neglectful in performing his prayer and he left it off out of negligence and laziness. There is a statement from the Sahaba, and there's a lot of statements from the Sahaba necessitating that person is what? Will be for the people of the hellfire forever. So a person that takes the position that, for example, the person leave off the salat, whether it be out of not believing it's obligatory and out of lazy negligence, that he's lazy, he's a non-Muslim, it's a strong statement for it. Strong. I don't have time to get into all the statements from the Sahaba. So notice that I'm starting with the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Even Sheikh Rabi' even mentioned that exactly. He said, for one who says the statement, their statements are strong. Then you have the other side, as far as in regards to leaving off the salah out of laziness and negligence, or being severely negligent or lazy. Well, you'll find out that they say that them that leave off the salat, then that person is subjected to the wa'id, to the punishment of Allah. So the punishment of Allah, where he will be in the hellfire temporarily. Why did I say temporarily? Because they still believe he's what? He's a believer. He's a Muslim. But the person is severely negligent and lazy. He will be in the hellfire, but he'll be in the hellfire for what? For a period of time. Because he committed a tremendous sin. Here are the people who now, so no, a person would say, well, is this a position of Sahaba? This is also a position of some of the Sahaba. From them is the hadith of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Hadith Abu Sa'id al-Khudri that I've taught you brothers, I've said about 3 or 4 or 5 times in my lessons for the past 3 weeks. They said that Allah will remove from the hellfire people who were, no, there's another statement that's more and more clear than that. He says, فَيُخْرِجُ مِنْهَا أَقْوَامًا لَمْ يَعْمَلُوا خَيْرٌ قَطْ. He said that Allah will remove from the hellfire people who did not do any deeds. Have patience. What's up? I'm sorry. Patience. Is it clear what I'm saying? طيب. Notice that the Prophet ﷺ clearly said, though, that them doing these acts, they're still going to be where? In the hellfire. طيب. You'll find that those who related this hadith was Abu Sa'id al-Khudri and other than him. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? So nobody now is saying that the person that let's say that they're neglectful in their salah, they say that it's justifiable. Nobody's saying that. They're saying now they're still going to be what? Punished. You understand? It's still going to be punished. And we'll find the great Imam, Rabi' ibn Hadi, the great Imam, Hafidhullah wa ra'ah, may Allah protect him. He also even said in the exact same statement, who do you know that a day in the hellfire is what we understand of 50,000 years? Because if a person that did not give zakah will receive a punishment of 50,000 years, what about the person who leave out the salah? How do you think his punishment will be? So now, those who take the statement that he's a kafir, no, a person that left off salah, doesn't matter what he did it out of believing it's not obligatory or out of laziness or severe neglect. You'll find those who say he's a kafir. There's khalas, both categories, we don't care. Those people now, you will never find those who take that position from the great a'imma of the past. Declare the other side to be murji. From them is Shaykh Uthaymeen. From them, Shaykh bin Baz. As they have a strong position, and like we said, you'll find that Ahl Ilm say that their position is strong. That the person who leaves off the prayer out of what? Out of either believing it's not obligatory or out of negligence is a kafir, is a disbeliever, right? And their position is strong. You'll never find now those who have the other side, from what Shaykh al-Albani even mentioned. He said, no one is saying that now they won't be punished. They will be punished. But we still have the hadith of the Messenger of Allah. And we cannot what? We cannot ignore it. Hadith is clear. So now if you want to go to the other side of it, what Imam al-Albani even mentions, that means now you have to now start accusing. If you want to accuse Shaykh al-Albani irja, you have to accuse Abu Sa'id al-Khudri of irja. You have to accuse the other Sahaba who took this position of irja. So now, those who make takfir and say that Shaykh al-Albani is murji, are you now going to go and have the nerve to say that the Sahaba who related these hadith, that those who will be brought out of the hellfire and they didn't do no good deeds, and also they had an Adam's weight of faith, are you going to say that they are murji? That they have irja? Also likewise from the past, you'll find that even the great Imam, Rabi' ibn Hadi al-Madkhali, Hafidhullah, the great Imam, Hamid liwal jarh al-ta'adil, Raghma unuf al-hizbiyin. You'll find that he says that he even had positions from the Imam of the past who say the same thing that Shaykh al-Albani said. From them, Imam Malik. From them, also the Imam Shafi'i. And from them, Imam Ahmed in the narration. Fi riwayah. So now you want to say they're murji too? They're murji. And I think it was Imam Malik and Imam Ahmed in the narration. But I have to check it because it's been like a couple of years. But the point is that you'll find that the Imam took the exact position of what Shaykh al-Albani said. So Shaykh al-Albani, like we said, had evidences from proof from Kitaab At-Sunnah. So in actuality, we're not following Shaykh al-Albani. We're following the what? The proofs and evidences. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? So that's what you'll find in every days and times. And every time I hear this, you'll find that it happens and occurs every 5 years. And I laugh every time I heard it because I just heard it 2 weeks ago from somebody that came up to me here in this masjid. And they told me about some ignorant one out there from some of the Moroccan brothers said this statement. I said, well, who is it? I said, what's the statement? They said, Sheikh, you got to be careful. Some scholars, they have irja with them. I said, here we go again. Here we go. Man, these people, it's like every 5 years. And especially they'll focus on Shaykh al-Albani out of all of the majority of them. Be careful, akhi. Some of the ulama got irja. As soon as you ask them, because you already knew what's going to come, because it's a repeat of every fool that says this statement. Who's the first you're going to say? Shaykh al-Albani. I knew it. Why? What's your delil? Because he said that people that left off the salah out of negligence and laziness, he's not a kafir, that person, he's still Muslim. I said, akhi, and that's the first thing I say, are you going to accuse the Sahaba irja? Answer the question. Because Shaykh al-Albani got that position from the Sahaba. You going to call the Sahaba murji? Going to call Imam Malik murji? You going to call Imam Ahmed murji? They had irja with them. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So that's what I'm saying. Be careful of these idiots that say these statements. The Shaykh al-Albani had irja with them, based upon a position that the Sahaba were upon. Nobody is justifying leaving off the salat, none of them. Because both of them say that they're going to be in what? In the hellfire. Whether it be eternally or it be what? Temporarily. The point is that they both have said they're going to be in what? In the hell. So is anybody justifying or condoning anything? No. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? So like we said, when you hear these statements, they are people that have the ideologies of the Khawarij. Because like I said, you will never find Sheikh bin Baz or Sheikh Uthaymeen accusing the other side who said that the person who left it out of negligence or laziness to salah, that what? That he's murji. Nor do you find those from the opposite that take that position and said that those who said that take the position for Sheikh Uthaymeen, Sheikh bin Baz, that those who say it's a kafir, that they're takfiriyun. It's the opposite of what I just said, basically. That other side, you'll never call that side murji. Nor the people who they accuse of irja, so-called, excuse me, let me rewind it again. Those from the ulama who say that they're kafir, qawlan wahidan, where they did it out of what? Believing it was obligatory or not, you will never find that them saying that those who took the other position are what? Murji. You never find it. Nor do you find the opposite. You'll never find the opposite said that, no, he's going to be in the hellfire temporarily, accusing those who said, no, he left the fold of Islam, that they're what? People of takfir. But Sheikh Rabi', even when he brought this masala and he discussed it, he even said at the end, he says both sides of who uses these evidences for this matter is very strong. And a person has to be on guard and make sure he protects his prayer. He said because he said the correct position could be that the person will be in hell forever. Because the salah is not something that's easy. It's an affair of the pillars of the religion which is established upon. So he said that both sides are very what? Very strong. But both sides would unanimously agree that that individual will be what? Punished. Whether it be eternally or whether it be what? Temporarily until even the great Imam, Rabi' ibn Hadi. You'll find that he even mentioned and said that in regards to the salah, for those of the other position, he said, what I'm saying to you guys now. Matter of fact, I should go get the book right now and read it to you verbatim. Matter of fact, I'm going to read it. I'll get it right now. He mentioned it says at the end, he says a person would think, oh, temporarily, it's not nothing. Leave off the salah, a person being in hellfire temporarily, it's not a big deal. He said a person that don't give zakat, being a punishment that's understood of 50,000 years. What about a person leave off the salah? That's temporary. Temporary could be 50,000 years. Of what we understand is 50,000 years. And that's for the person that didn't pay zakat. What about the person that give what? Left off the salah. So he said it could be both sides. But the point of why he was mentioning it in this way is to say that you still don't have any justifiable excuse to accuse the great Imam al-Albani of what? Irja. You don't have it. And like I told you, there's still people to this day still talking about this affair. Since the 90s up to now. Until I heard it about a couple of weeks ago when someone said that some of the Barakas was listening to somebody over in Mecca. He's from the most craziest radical of people of takfir in Mecca right now. But anyway, so I said, what did he say? He said that you got to be careful. Some of the ulama, some of them have irja with them. I was like, oh, here we go. And I knew that was going to come and what was going to talk about because this thing always reoccurs and it shows up from time to time. Camden, with me? I'm throwing this out here, not for you guys to grasp what I'm saying now. I'm throwing this out there so if you hear this nonsense, you'll know how to react. But as far as the details, what I just mentioned to everyone, then that'll come later. But I just summed it up to you. I gave you guys the summary. Summed it up to you and say keep it in your minds so it could be what? When you hear this nonsense in the streets, you'll know to say, this is exactly what AbdurRazzaq was talking about in the class. You call the Sheikh al-Albani murji. He has your jail with him. Yeah, right. Huh? What'd you say it again? Who said? Someone you know says that? What? They just talk about it in class. No. A lot of people tell me that. They say, talk about it in class, you'll start experiencing it in the street. You start hearing the statements. And these statements will come by you on the internet. Sheikh al-Albani, some of the ulama have irja with him to the end of it. Nonsense. If you accuse the ulama of sunnah of irja, then you have to go back towards those who are better than the ulama or the sahaba and accuse them of irja. And those who usually use the statement of irja that's floating around of these days and times are usually from the deviant sect called the Haddadiyah. And the Haddadis is a branch of the people of takfir, meaning the people of the Khawarij. They're a branch. The people of Haddadiyah is a branch. Anyway, let's get to the next chapter. Tafadhal, read it. The ayah which is in the next chapter. Tafadhal. Tafadhal, Jamar. Why are you doing that?
say La ilaha illallah, a statement by which I will plead for you before Allah. They said, have you left the religion of Abdul for the Prophet, repeated what he said. The last thing he said was, I remain upon the religion of Abdul-Muttalib, and I refuse to say La ilaha illallah. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and I will seek forgiveness for you as long as I am not forbidden from doing so. So Allah revealed the ayah, it is not for the Prophet and those who believe to seek forgiveness for the mushrikeen, even if they be their closest relative. Al-Tawbah, ayah 113. And Allah revealed about Abu Talib, it is not for you to guide whom you love, but Allah guides whom He wills. Same surah. Ayah 56.
No, Surah Al-Qasas, no. Jayyid. This new chapter, Ya Ma'ash al-Ikhwa, is a chapter which the great Imam, Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, rahimahullah, he put in the new chapter, Bab Qawlillahi Ta'ala, Innaka la tahdi man ahbabt. The statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where He says, verily you do not guide whom you love. You do not guide whom you love. That's the new chapter. The new chapter is, you do not guide whom you love. However, Allah guides whom He wills. Taib. This new chapter, as we know, is speaking about the hidayah. The guidance of the heart is from the affairs of rububiyyah of Allah, which also shows that Allah Ta'ala is in control of the affairs of the creation, no doubt, and how hidayah of guidance is from tamam ma'na al-rububiyyah. It's from the precise meaning of rububiyyah of Allah. Meaning He's the owner of what? Of everything. Just as the shafa'ah is from what Allah owns, likewise, hidayah of the heart, we'll talk about inshallah, guidance of the heart, likewise, is from Allah Ta'ala alone. The guidance of the heart. The guidance of success in the heart is also from Allah Ta'ala's ownership, and He's the one that only controls it. He's the one that only what? Controls it. So just as the chapter has preceded, no one can intercede or benefit anyone by their intercession or save anyone from hell except Allah. Likewise, no one can guide anyone except likewise by either Allah guiding them or by the permission of Allah, whether it be all types of guidance. And there's different categories in which we'll elaborate and give details on. But ultimately, all these affairs go back to Allah. So that's the connection of the chapter before it to this chapter in which we're about to embark upon explaining right now. So there's no difference as far as Allah being the ownership of the shafa'ah, likewise Allah Ta'ala being the ownership of hidayah, of guidance. As far as Allah Ta'ala also being what? The owner of guidance. In regards to guidance, it's the same thing what we talked about in the shafa'ah at the previous chapter. You with me, Kate? You with me? Focus. You with me? The hidayah of Allah, Ta'ala, just like the shafa'ah, you have ayat in the book of Allah that affirms it, and you have ayat in the book of Allah then that what? Negates it. We said previously, the ayats that negate the shafa'ah are in regards to who? The kuffar. Those who are the kuffar will not receive the shafa'ah, or the people of shirk. So the ayat in regards to the shafa'ah being negated is in regards to them, not in regards to the people of Iman. Whereas you'll find the ayats that affirm the shafa'ah are concerning who? Concerning who, Camden? The ayats of affirmation of the shafa'ah concerning who? That will attain the shafa'ah, that will gain the shafa'ah, that will benefit from the shafa'ah who? Just leave him. Don't look at him. You probably get him nervous. Because I know myself, if I looked at him, he'd probably be like, oh, come on, Dad. You bugging. Why you got to look at me, though? Like, Jaden. Just leave him. Don't look at him. So, in this regard, we say that the shafa'ah, the ayats that have been negated, is in regards to the people of what? Kufr. And the people, when the ayats that affirm it, is in regards to the people of what? Of Iman. The people of Tawheed. They will attain again the shafa'ah. So there's no tanaqud, there is no type of contradiction in the Kitab and the Sunnah at all. There's no contradiction. Because a person will try to be from the people of the mustashriqeen, from the Orientalists, because the Orientalists, they work day and night to try to find contradictions in the Kitab and Sunnah, and they haven't found any. Every time they try to find a so-called contradiction, the people from Ahl Ilm come and refute it. And they try to utilize this same pattern which you see now. They say, oh, this ayat to affirm it. You got ayats to negate it. Contradiction. You understand? Not realizing that Allah Ta'ala arranged his book, an ayat, and what we see, how we read it today, for a reason. People will say, why is it arranged in the order it's arranged in? If you read and study, it's arranged in order for it to be set up to what? So the people can understand it properly, and also likewise, those who try to come to cause confusion will be refuted. That's why you'll find that every person of falsehood that tries to twist ayat in its meanings or try to utilize some ayat, you'll find that in the same ayat is the same refutation. Either because they took a part of the ayat and they didn't finish one part off, or they didn't read a page before it that indicates what it's talking about, or a page after it, or an ayat after it. The way Allah Ta'ala, in His infinite, complete wisdom, arranged the ayats in the book of Allah so no one can come and what? Alter it. So it only can be interpreted one way, and that the people of falsehood would be what? Refuted. And that's in every time and every place. From the examples of that is what I'm about to talk about now. Don't worry, I'm going to give examples of this, because it's about to come. طيب. So you'll find that the Orientalists, they say this. For example, so there's a contradiction. So you got ayats that affirm it, ayats that negate it. And we just said, وَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدُ, we brought harmony, we gathered between the texts, saying that which is negated is in regards to what? It's easy. And without those ayats that negate the shafa'ah in regards to the kuffar, the people who died upon disbelief. And those ayats that affirm the shafa'ah in regards to who? The people of Iman. Because they're going to receive the shafa'ah. So in actuality, there's still what? No contradiction. Is there any contradiction? It's clear. There's going to be people that will have the shafa'ah, and there's going to be people are what? They are not going to have it. And those ayats and those who don't have it, do not have it, as in regards to the kuffar, and those people that will retain the shafa'ah, the people of Tawheed. Same thing here, in this chapter. Allah Ta'ala in His book affirms hidayah, and He negates it. So a person right now open the book of Allah and think that it's some type of what? Contradiction. Is there any contradiction? Camden? No. Yeah, I like mess with Camden. طيب. I'm just messing with you. Just messing with you. Just want to make sure you're awake. These affairs are very important. Stay with me. Don't drift off. There's ayat in the book of Allah Ta'ala that affirm guidance, and likewise what? Negate it. It's in there. It's in the book of Allah. Allah Ta'ala says in His book here, in this first ayat, which this chapter is inaugurated by this ayah. We'll start off by this ayah. What does it say? Verily you do not guide. Put your face in the book. Verily you do not guide whom you love. Allah wa ta'ala what? However, Allah guides whom He wills. So Allah is negating hidayah. And in the same context, Allah wa ta'ala what? Is affirming it. طيب. You have another ayah where Allah wa ta'ala does affirm hidayah for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah wa ta'ala says in His book, وَإِنَّكَ لَتَهْدِي إِلَى صِرَاطٍ الْمُسْتَقِيمٍ. Verily you most definitely guide to the correct path. So now, this ayat is affirming what? Guidance for the message of Allah. So now, is there any contradiction? Is there any contradiction? طيب. The brothers say, no, it isn't. In which we'll explain right now in light of what Ibn al-Qayyim mentions. That guidance breaks down into, in regards to the creation, but I'm going to sum it up later. But 4 categories. Some of Ahl say 2. Don't worry, it's all the same. For what is correct is of what Ibn al-Qayyim mentions is 4. 4. Don't worry, I know what everyone is going to say 2. I'm going to explain that. Don't worry. طيب. One of them is the general hidayah. Matter of fact, no one write. Just understand before you start writing. Just understand. You have the general guidance that is shared between the creation. The general guidance. Muslim, non-Muslim. Even animals. Certain affairs. Just listen. Allah Ta'ala, as we know, says in His book, الَّذِي أَعْطَى كُلَّ شَيْءٍ خَلْقَهُ ثُمَّ هَدَى سَبِّحِ اسْمِ رَبِّكَ الْأَعْلَى الَّذِي خَلَقَ فَسَوَّى الَّذِي قَدَّرَ فَهَدَى. طيب. Allah Ta'ala mentions His book. As a matter of fact, let me start off to the first category. The general guidance that's shared amongst the creation. Based upon the ayats that we just mentioned. Don't write anything down, just understand. Allah Ta'ala has given everything its image. He gave it an image where one does not resemble the other. Whether it's be a human being, in most cases, majority of them do not resemble the other. Even in certain twins, certain affairs, and certain specific things that gives you a distinguish to know who's what, one different from the other. So you'll find that Allah Ta'ala has given every image or everything its own what? Image. Where one doesn't resemble the other. And He gave everything its what? Its parts, or its shape, or its size, or what have you. And they don't resemble, so they'll be able to differentiate between each other. And He's given everything that's present its own khalq, its own type of creation, what it's particularized by. Then Allah gave it to God of what He's created of certain actions. That's in regards to what? Human beings, and in regards to what we'll talk about even of animals. As we know, even though they're creation, but still, each type has its own what? Type of way that it lives or conducts or does certain things. Especially if you study the affairs in the world of animals. You'd be bewildered of how certain things and what they do, and certain things that have, for example, certain animals that have 2 testicles, or certain animals that the female plays, the female plays like the role of the male, or certain affairs. It's very bewildering. There's ayats that speak about this. Don't worry, there's ayats in the book of Allah that speak about that. طيب. So Allah Subhanahu wa Taala gave a general type of what? Guidance, in which the creation, all of them sharing. So that's the first category. Even Ibn al-Qayyim goes on to say, وَهَذِي الْهِدَايَةَ عُمُ الْحَيَوَانِ الْمُتَحَرِّكِ بِإِرَادَتِهِ لَجَلْبِ مَا يَنْفَعُهُ وَدَفْعِ مَا يَضُرُّهُ. He says even this guidance is generalized. It generalizes even the animals that move by them doing certain things and what they intend to do, of how they conduct and trying to attain, of what will benefit them or repelling what will harm them. He says, even in affairs of what we perceive as non or inanimate objects, for example, planets or what have you, verily they have their own way how they operate, which is a type of way in which Allah guided them to what? To do. which befits it, just as everything from likewise from animals has a type of guidance that befits it, and likewise human beings likewise have similar to that. A person would think, what are we talking about? For example, a baby, once it's born, it instinctively already knows and is guided towards the breast of his mother, automatically without anyone teaching it. Right or wrong? Right. Soon as you put the baby, first time, soon as it's born, put the baby, starts what? Putting their mouth right on the chest of the woman. That is a type of hidayah that Allah Ta'ala put in the creation, instinctively. To already know that the baby already knows that's its mother, and that it's supposed to automatically start what? Suckling. Is it clear what I'm saying so far? Clear? Jade. There's other examples of this, but that's just to give a little clarity of this first category. So he said, even though the different types might be different in their images, Allah has given every udu, and even as far as in body and parts of the human being and his body, it gave it a type of hidayah, of a guidance of how to operate. For example, guidance of your legs, of what's supposed to do as far as walking, and your tongue as far as speech, and as far as your eyes, as far as seeing things that are what? That are seen. He says, وَهَلُمَ جَرَّةً, and so on and so forth. And also likewise, the guidance of two spouses, even from animals, how they're paired up, and how they also automatically know how to be intimate. All these things are what? Are a type of hidayah. It's a type of hidayah without anyone teaching them. And for them also likewise continuing their progeny or continuing their lineage. And also them how they take care of their children and raise their children. And what have you. And like he said and mentioned the example of what we just said, how a baby instinctively is guided towards knowing who's its mother and also suckling the breast of the mother automatically. That's a type of guidance. That's a type of what? That's a type of guidance. He says in this type or this level of guidance, which is the general guidance of what has been what? In which everyone shares in, from even from animals, even from human beings, and even from certain inanimate objects, what we perceive, have all been what? Have some type of, this type of general guidance. Wow. What? That's the 10-minute warning? That's the 10-minute warning. He said this type of level is so much examples that it cannot be counted or enumerated. He just kept it summed up in some of the examples we mentioned. So that's the first category. Everyone's still ready. طيب. The second category is the hidayah of what Allah is affirming for the message of Allah. In the ayat that affirms guidance, which is called everyone hidayah of bayan والدلالة والتعريف لنجدي الخير والشر وهديناكم نجدين ألم نجعل لهم عينين ولسانا وشفتين وهديناهم نجدين. So the second category, which is the category of another type of guidance. The guidance of what? Clarification, indication, pointing in the right direction, clarification, making things clear of what is one of the two paths of either what? Good and evil. Or the path of success or one of the two paths of destruction. That the message of Allah ﷺ had that type of guidance, and those who have that guidance are the callers to those who are well grounded in the religion and who have the ability. Those who have the ability, have the knowledge, they're the ones that have this type of what? Guidance where they're able to what? Actualize this particular category. They're able to actualize this what? This category. By what we know as giving da'wah. When you call a person to Islam, you clarify, you redirect, you advise, you make everything clear. That which is the second category, what they call the guidance of what? Clarification, indication, direction, guidance, as far as an affair of what? Clarification, if you want to say. That is what Allah was affirming in the ayah. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, verily you must guide to the what? Correct path. Allah was talking about that category. Is it clear what I'm saying so far? Allah was talking about that category. The guidance of direction and the guidance of clarification, indication, pointing in the right direction, وَهَلُمَ جَرًّا, and so on and so forth. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? تفضل. هداية البيان والدلالة والتعريف, you can call it تعريف لنجدي الخير والشر, to the, either one of the two paths of evil, of good and evil. نجدين, نجدي الخير والشر. Some of Ahl al-Ilm call it irshad. طيب. Question to everyone before we go on to this next question, or to the next category. There's an ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Surah As-Sad, ayah number 30. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in his book, as for Thamud, we guided them. They preferred misguidance over guidance, or being blinded. Being blinded meaning misguided. They preferred misguidance over guidance. This ayah says here that Allah guided them, but they still preferred what? Misguidance over what? Guidance. What's this ayah speaking about? Tafadal. No, this ayah is talking about the category we're discussing now, meaning the clarification of the prophets and the messengers came and gave them what? Guidance, as far as clarification and indication and direction. So Allah was speaking about this category, not the category of what we're going to say thirdly, of what's coming. So the type of guidance here in this ayah is speaking about what, everyone? The ayah of the guidance of clarification, meaning that Allah sent prophets and messengers clarifying to them what was correct. However, they chose what? Misguidance over guidance, meaning after it was made clear to them, or after the clarification of the prophets and messengers who came to them, clarifying that to them and directed them and pointing them in the correct direction. They didn't want to hear that. After the clarification came from the prophets and the messengers, and that is the second category, which is of the guidance of what, everyone? Clarification and what? Direction to the end of it. Is it clear what I'm saying? I'm going to lay down the foundation, and then I'll give the statements of the Mu'tazila to throw you off. Type. The third category is a category of what they call Hidayat At-Tawfiq wal-Ilham. Hidayat At-Tawfiq wal-Ilham. The guidance of tawfiq, of success and inspiration, meaning the guidance of the heart. It's the third category of guidance. Anyway, stay writing it down. The guidance of the third category of what they call Hidayat At-Tawfiq wal-Ilham. The guidance of success and the guidance of inspiration, and if you want to say, the guidance of the what? Of the heart. Meaning what Allah creates of Iman in the heart of the people of the creation. That Allah put of guidance inside of the heart of the individual. Yes. Of that type of guidance is only from Allah. That Allah create guidance or inspiration of good in the individual's heart. That is only from Allah only. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? The great Imam, Sulaiman al-Darani from the Salaf said a tremendous, profound statement. He said that the deeds or good deeds that you do, you need to count that as a ni'mah of Allah. That's a ni'mah that Allah has given you. So he says, how can one realize that good actions that one performs is him realizing that it's a ni'mah from Allah? How can he be arrogant? Rather, it's incumbent upon him to be what? Humble. Knowing that the good actions is a ni'mah from Allah. Why? Because it comes from the what? The guidance and inspiration of the heart of what Allah puts inside of it. To inspire you to do good. It's clear. طيب. The third category here is speaking about which category, and you look in your first eye, which the great Imam, Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahab, opened up the chapter with. Which category is he speaking about now, everyone? Huh? In this ayah. Which category of Camden? First, second, or third? I know everybody online was like, who's Camden? طيب, Camden, which category is what we're speaking about? The first ayah in the chapter. See, this is how I'm keeping you sharp. You can see. Huh? Verily you do not guide whom you love. Allah is negating what? Hidayah from the message of Allah. Based upon which understanding of the three categories that we mentioned? Which one? 2 or 3? Jamar says 2. Other brothers say 3. Which one is it, everyone? The correct answer is 3. That the message of Allah, what Allah is negated for the message of Allah is the guidance of what? Of the heart, of inspiration to do good and righteous actions, and having faith is what Allah creates in the heart of the individual, which is only from His affair, ta'ala. And that concludes my lesson. There is one more category. We'll continue that Sunday. And we have to end it off here until I give the statements of the Mu'tazila. And also bring the statements of the Qadariyah that negate these categories, which we'll talk about, or how they mix up these categories, which we'll talk about Sunday. I have to keep you guys excited to get to the next lesson. Tell you. Huh? There's one more category left I didn't clarify it. I didn't explain it. There's 4 categories, a 4th one. I'll talk about that Sunday. Tafadal. Inshallah. Or you can write it down how you want to word it with your own words, and I'll look at it to make sure you understood it properly. So, because if you write down your own words, that means if you write down your own words is correct, that means you understood it. Any questions about the lesson? Tafadal ya Ja'far. Sulaiman al-Darani, rahimahullah. Matter of fact, I have the Athar, I have it in my office. I know exactly where it is too. Sulaiman al-Darani, rahimahullah. Matter of fact, I'll get the statement for you right now. I know exactly where it is. Messy, truly messy. It's all about as far as being organized.